story of self-discovery. I grew up in a predominantly Asian community where your value was based on your career, your grades, and your physical appearance. Your lifestyle, your career, and also sometimes your partner were either directly or indirectly influenced by your family, your friends, and your community. Growing up, I wanted to be the pride of my family. My mother was a professional athlete of China, and my father was a PhD in geology. Needless to say, I had a lot to live up to. Every week, my mother and I, we would go on a walk. It was our mother and daughter walk, and I would make it a point to tell her of all of my achievements that week, and that was my motivation to do better the following week. During senior year of high school, my friends and I gathered around, and we talked about what was going to be our major for college. And we would laugh and say, we really only felt that we had 3 choices: engineering, law, or medicine. So I was never good at math, so I threw engineering out the window. And I didn't win many arguments, so I don't think I would have been a very good lawyer. So by default, I chose to pursue medicine. I did everything I could think of in college to get into medical school. I volunteered, I was a teaching assistant, I did tutoring, I did research. I graduated with a 3.98 GPA in biology and neuroscience. And even then, I didn't feel adequate enough to get into medical school. The acceptance rates were something ridiculous, like 1 to 2% of applicants who apply would get in. So for me, just to add a little cherry on top, I decided to work for a year in the hospital. After a long year of applications and working in the hospital, one day, I remember so clearly, waking up at 5:30 in the morning, going for a run, going to work, sitting in front of my desk, opening my inbox. And there it was, a bold, unread email that summarized the last 5 years of my life. All the sleepless nights, the stress, and the pressure, all in one email. I took a deep breath and opened it. And there were the letters. Congratulations, you've been accepted. I felt a huge sigh of relief. I felt a ton of bricks lifted off of my shoulders. I thought back to the last 5 years, good dreams and bad dreams, all accumulating to this very moment. And then I thought about the future in front of me. I thought about going back to studying, competing for residency, and then living a life as a physician. And I thought about the year that I worked at the hospital. And suddenly, I felt a wave of dread washing over my body. Dread? What's wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? I should be exhilarated, excited. This is something I've been working so hard towards. But I couldn't stop the feeling, and I suddenly realized that I didn't want to work in the hospital, that I couldn't stand the rigid structure, that this was not my passion. This is not something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Sitting there dumbfounded in front of that email, I thought back to an experience that I had 3 years prior. During my junior year of college, I decided to study abroad for 6 months to go to China. I finished my MCAT, and I was so excited to put my pre-med life on pause and go for an adventure in China. The first couple months were amazing, everything that I could dream of. Food was great, the people I met were awesome, the nightlife was a completely different story, and then, 3 months into the program, that's when we were getting ready for an excursion, and I anticipated this to be the highlight of my trip. We were going to Mongolia and northern China. The first few days, 3 days and 3 nights, we were on the train in a little bunk bed. Then we stayed in Mongolian yurts and rode Mongolian horses. I touched the river that separated northern China and Russia and stood on the bridge that separated China and North Korea. And then the last few days of the trip, we went hitchhiking across northern China mountains. And one of the nights, we decided to camp overnight. Northern China is very, very cold. It was negative 30 degrees Celsius. I could wear 4 pairs of socks and 4 pairs of clothes and still be chilled to the bone. In that camp that evening, I remember getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden there were sheets of rain that were coming down, and it rained all night. And that morning, I woke up, and our entire campsite was flooded. All my clothes and my tent was soaked, and my body felt numb. After that, I got very, very sick. I had to go back to Beijing. I was hospitalized for a few days. The doctor told me that it was a combination of hypothermia and pneumonia, and I had to be sent back to the States. Back in the US, I had to see a doctor, a nutritionist, and a psychologist every week to recover. The doctor told me that my blood pressure was 80/40, and he was surprised I was still alive. I had to take the rest of the semester off, and my friends would come to visit me, and their faces would go from shock to sympathy to awkwardness. They didn't know how to react to my illness. But of course, they had to go back to their lives, go back to their weekend plans, go back to their career pursuits, and I felt like my entire life was just frozen in time, that the world was spinning in front of me, but I could do nothing about it, and I was just watching from above. I didn't even want to walk outside, because whenever I walked outside, I could feel people staring at me, and I felt like a freak. And I could see in people's eyes, what's wrong with you? Why does she look so sick? I remember sitting at home, I avoided human contact, and I would think to myself, if I had the chance to live my future, what would I want out of my life? So now, fast forward, 3 years later, sitting in front of that email that I've waited so long for, I find myself thinking back to the same question. What do I want out of my life? Experiences times expectations equals decisions. Oftentimes, we don't have enough experiences in our life, so we let the expectations of the people around us or of society to help us dictate our decisions for our future. If I hadn't gotten sick, I would have never looked at my life as a whole, and I would have never had the courage to make a bigger decision for myself. If I had never worked at the hospital, I would have never realized that studying for medicine is completely different than working at the hospital as a physician. I would have never had the courage to not take one step at a time and one goal at a time. I probably would have ended up in a place that I didn't want to be until it was too late. I decided to decline medical school. My family and friends told me I was crazy. Why would you decline a safe and secure job and go into something completely unknown and have to start over? You just wasted the last 5 years of your life. And I told them no. Actually, I didn't waste the last 5 years of my life. The last 5 years of my life helped me live the next 50 years of my life even better. Experiences, instead of pursuing a life of achievement, first and foremost, we should pursue a life of self-discovery. Experiences bring you the wisdom and the knowledge and the power to be able to make decisions that will change the trajectory of your life. Experiences, the good ones and the bad ones, the ones that make you cry and the ones that make you laugh, is the courage to help you understand who you are, what you want, and what you're passionate about. I decided to open my own business in financial education. I realized that my passion was to be able to help people, educate them about money management, and empower them to make better financial decisions for their future so they can pursue their dreams sooner. Having your own business was a lot more difficult than I had presumed. There's ups and downs and new challenges every single day. But I welcome these challenges and I welcome these experiences because they help me gain more value for myself. Every day, I meet people from all walks of life, in all ages. Some of them, when they tell me their stories and their lives and their experiences, I can see a glimmer in their eyes. They're excited about their future and they're passionate about what they're doing. Others, I see them dragging their feet. Every day is just like the last. Every day, I'm reminded to appreciate the experiences that have led me to this point. All of us have a voice inside of us that want to meet the expectations of the people around us and of society. However, the best decisions that we make are the ones that we make selfishly, listening to our own hearts and our own experiences, and not to the opinions of others. I want to ask you, number one, what do you want out of your life? If you didn't know if tomorrow was going to happen or not, what would you want? What would you have wanted your life to be? Number two, are your current goals leading you to that path? Every week, my mother and I, we still go on our walk, our mother and daughter walk. But instead of just telling her about all of my achievements and my accomplishments, I also share with her my challenges, my struggles, my insecurities, because I don't just want to impress her, I want to share my life with her. I've never been closer with my family, happier, more confident in myself, and more excited for the future. Because ever since opening that email, ever since making that decision, it's me driving at the front wheel of my life. Thank you.